I'm Dagdar. I'm no bandit. I've washed my hands of that life.
Today we're going over the last Grand Hero Battle unit for Gen 9. Dagdar accompanies the Thracian New Heroes banner. He's the father of Tanya and a former bandit who's changed for the better. In Fabe, Dagdar is an Axe Infantry unit. He's got 44 HP, 49 attack, 35 speed, 45 defense, and 25 res. Dagdar has attack and res super boons. I believe Dagdar is the new highest attack free-to-play Axe unit in the game now. There are many others right behind him though, but still notable. Dagdar has pretty good HP and defense at the cost of speed and res. 35 base speed isn't super slow, but not that fast either. Depending on playstyle, it may or may not be useful, although with his good defense stat, Dagdar is another one of those units who could utilize Frozen well. The Frozen status can turn defense advantages into speed basically, it's just super rare. Now for his inheritable weapon, Dagdar has the Reversal Axe Plus. This 14-weight weapon states, if unit initiates or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grant +4 to all stats, and inflict debuffs on the foe equal to the current field buffs on the foe's stats times 2. The Reversal weapon line is a reissue of the Bridal Banner weapons from 2023. It essentially has an in-combat panic effect. If the foe were to have a +6 attack field buff, you inflict -12 attack in combat to cancel it out and penalize the enemy. This is a decent effect, but if the foe doesn't have field buffs, you basically just have a +4 stat stick. Not being in control of your weapon's effect is kinda iffy, man. If you have low buff neutralization or you inflict actual panic on the enemy, then this weapon doesn't have any field buffs to penalize. Even though field buffs aren't uncommon, this effect won't stop things like bonus doubler or treachery. It's just not the most reliable effect, especially when it's the only effect on the weapon. The rest of Dagdar's kit is alright, although nothing new. Ignis is great for his high defense, but you're gonna need lots of cooldown to charge it. To go with the stat-focused weapon, Dagdar's got bonus doubler. He will have attack and defense 03 to self-buff. It makes sense for his base kit and his stat spread, but we literally just got attack and defense 03 on Summer Boltus, and it's been on many other attack and defense focused units. Meanwhile, we still don't have defense and res 03 on a non-5-star unit. If you want to merge up Dagdar, he's gonna get +1 HP, speed, and defense for the neutral nature. If you just want to focus on attack, the super boon will be nice. You could also boost Dagdar's res with that super boon if you really want. For free-to-play comparisons, we have a lot of Axe Infantry units with good attack and defense. However, it's been over a year since Summer Vake, so we were kinda due. Dagdar is essentially a Gen 9 version of this very common stat spread. Gen 8 had Vake, Vargas, and Fuga, and Gen 7 even had Summer Donald. If you wanted to invest in speed, Dagdar will be the fastest of the bunch, but not by much. He technically beats Vake in every stat except HP and ties and res. Now, for the other 3 Axe Fighters, they are slower in exchange for more resistance. As a reminder, Summer Donald is a trainee, so he does have a few extra total stats. If you do not care about speed at all, Summer Dedu was from Gen 8, and he is mostly min-maxed for lower speed. Dedu is still a fairly unique pick in this class type. On the other side, Panette is a Gen 9 Berserker. She isn't the fastest, but she's faster than Dagdar and trades defense for HP. Panette and Fargus have unique weapons. They can give some support to the team if you wanted a more supportive role. If you only care about speed, Springlong Crew, Fallen Linus, and Valentine's Effie are the Heroic Rail units you should look into. For Demotes, the only Gen 9 unit was Caspar. Caspar is more similar to Panette, and while the 3 Heroic Rail units I just mentioned are faster, Caspar is clearly a good bit ahead of units like Dagdar. For other middling speed Axe Fighters, they will focus on HP mostly. Mustafa did get his refine. It's a fairly simple weapon with some buffing capabilities. If you aren't in a hurry to build someone, Boltus should get his refine at the tail end of this year, I think. Unfortunately, I don't think the King of Grappling is going to be punching people. Overall, Dagdar is pretty much just a modern update on a very classic Axe Fighter stat spread. He's got the highest attack out of everyone, but the rest ain't that far behind. For basic budget builds, Dagdar can keep his base kit. It focuses on penalizing the enemy's buffs while Dagdar doubles up on his own. The main advantage of bonus doubler is that it can give a lot of total stats if you can get full buffing. It can be countered by lower panic though, so if you don't want to worry about that, you may be better off with just regular attack and defense skills. If you do get speed buffs, Dagdar could maybe invest in more speed. We do have some speed and defense based skills like Finish or Bulwark if you wanted to give that a try. If you aren't that confident, you can just run the classic Cooker Pose and fish for enemy phase fights. Give Dagdar a Breath Sacred Seal if you want to charge Ignis, or you can step down to Bonfire, Glamour, or Moonbow. You can use Draconic Aura or Dragon Fang, but unless you're only investing in attack and not defense, then it probably won't outscale Bonfire or Ignis. For some other skills, with our new attack and defense link Sacred Seal, you can now run Speed and Res Link in the B slot to get full buffing for bonus doubler. You could also swap the ult skill to speed and res if you wanted to free up the B slot. In terms of premium skills, we just had Summer Baltus, who is just a Lance version of Dagdar stat-wise. Anything he can run, Dagdar can too. It just comes down to inheritable weapon choices. For the Axe Fighters, there are a million attack and defense inheritable axes, and most are on free-to-play units. If you want a follow-up, you can use Seahorse or Pursuo Axe. Anchor Axe can give 20 attack and defense with Guard. Tropical Conch gives attack and defense buffing to the team, and you can get Tempo. Axe's Devotion relies on instant damage. If the foe doesn't have instant healing, it can be a fun weapon. As for the Wooden Tackle, you can get some attack and defense debuffing with 10 HP healing after combat. As an example build, you could use Wind Tribe Club. It gives a player phase follow-up status and no panic. If you want to keep bonus doubler, you can upgrade to the tier 4 or use the Fun Distant bonus doubler. No panic will protect your buffs, and you can use Oath 4 or Pledge to self-buff easier. If you can stack statuses, Wind Tribe Club has uncapped attack and defense scaling. Each advantageous status is 2 attack and defense for Dagdar, so that kind of fits with the bonus doubler stat stacking. If you summoned on the recent summer banners, Paula's Fan and Foliage is interesting. It's a times pulse weapon with attack scaling true damage. With that, you can use the standard Laguz Friend build and not need times pulse. You can use that C slot for something like Oath or Breath of Life 4. The lack of slaying also means you can use Boulder for its 40% on pierce with damage reduction. Unfortunately, Arcane Giant Axe cannot run Boulder with Laguz Friend due to slaying. If we get a defense version of Ice Wall, then that will work, but we've only had one Boulder holder for like 3/4 of a year. There's been like 3 Ice Wall holders in 2 months. Anyway, with Giant Axe, you might be able to run Boulder if you run the new Faith C skill. There is only an attack and speed variant right now, but Faith gives -1 instant cooldown before you get hit. With Slaying Boulder, you need to find another -1 cooldown source. This can be from Times Pulse Echo, Emblem Mart's Ring, or an ally. If you can get that -1 cooldown, Faith will charge Boulder before you get hit, and that's basically what Laguz Friend was for. You're going to end up losing the DR piercing specials, but there's a decent replacement in Potent Finish. 7 flat DR, 15 true damage as specials are ready, 7 HP healing on hit, and that potent follow-up attack if you're within 20 speed of the enemy. I feel like this may be the new popular setup if you don't want to adhere to Laguz Friend's 3 cooldown special rule, and you want to use the current arcane weapons. I don't know if I would call it the sturdiest setup, however, it's got some damage potential. If you initiate, for example, Boulder will get pre-charged thanks to the arcane weapons. If the enemy counters back, Faith will recharge a second Boulder in time for a follow-up. Again, you must have -1 cooldown from some other source. I don't know if this Potent Finish plus Faith build is the best for a slower unit like Dagdar, but I'm sure the Gust Speedsters will be running it. Dagdar does have a lot of attack and defense, so you could just invest in speed skills instead, maybe find a place for those rarer speed and defense variants. Now for other skills and playstyles, Dagdar has a lot of options as a melee infantry. You can snag Earthfire Boost if you're going to pick up the Giant Axe, and Fortifications is still fun. For any kind of player phasing, you could just use one of the many Ninja Brave Axes and things like Momentum or Brash Assault 4. Infantry are just pseudo-cavaliers at this point with skills like Tempest or Assault Rush. If you did want to be a team player, Dagdar has okay base HP for Infantry Pulse 3 or 4. You might need an HP boost in skill, but more team cooldown is always good. In conclusion, should you 5-star Dagdar, 49 base attack plus Super Boon will make him the new highest attack for all free-to-play axes. Dagdar also has good 45 defense, but there are many others with similar stats, and in general, there are a ton of axe infantry to choose from. Dagdar, unfortunately, is kind of just a modern, up-to-date version of a very common archetype. He's not terrible, but not many players are jazzed for a mid-30 speed unit at the moment, especially of the axe variety. At least for Summer Baltus, there are like less than 10 free-to-play lance infantry compared to the 30+ axe fighters. Unless you can use Frozen, the middling speed, high defense stat spread is in a weird spot. Potent can make things interesting, but you still need to be somewhat close in speed. Honestly though, stat checks are so volatile nowadays, it's kind of impossible to predict. What is predictable is that Treaty Legends 9 is next month, and unless they want to change things up, we can expect Generation 10 BST coming with it. You may want to start saving grails for that if you're gunning for arena score. If you do like Dagdar, I would maybe wait to see what skills CYL introduces. There is almost always something interesting going on then. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and go beat Dagdar's Grand Hero Battle map. I will see you in the next one.